Welcome to the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Friday, January 6th. This is Gina McGuire. Over the last 24 hours, we've only seen light amounts of precipitation over parts of Nevada and Utah, with some slightly heavier amounts over the far eastern side of Utah and in the far southern portion of the Great Basin. Precipitation over the last 7 days on the left shows the amounts of precipitation, which have obviously been heaviest in the Sierra, where over 3 to 4 inches of precipitation has occurred over the last week, with more scattered amounts further east. This departure from normal shows that the precipitation in the Sierra is several inches above what we would normally see this time of year, and as you go further east into Nevada and Idaho, areas are near or just above normal. We have no information for the last 30 days for parts of Utah and into the Arizona Strip, which is the area of gray. The water vapor satellite loop from this morning shows a weak ridge of high pressure now moving into the Great Basin, giving us drier conditions today. However, temperatures will still be very cold, with highs 10 to 15 degrees below normal. We will have another storm system, as you can already start to see the clouds moving in off the coast of California. This significant amount of precipitation will affect the Great Basin for the next week. Today we will see drier conditions across the Great Basin, along with very cold temperatures, around 10 to 15 degrees below what we would normally see this time of year. We will also see poor dispersion over much of the northern half of the Great Basin, and slightly higher indices for ventilation index over southern Nevada and the Arizona Strip. Winds today will remain fairly light across the Great Basin, with very low mixing heights, especially over the northern two-thirds of the area, where mixing heights will be slightly higher over southern Nevada, southern Utah, and the Arizona Strip. As we move into Saturday, this significant amount of moisture will spread across the Great Basin and remain in place for the next 5 to 7 days. Dispersion will remain very poor over the northern half of the Great Basin as we move into Saturday, and still somewhat higher in the far south. Looking at the winds will start to increase in some areas of Idaho and Nevada as we move through the day on Saturday, with some gusts between 30 and 35 miles per hour. However, again, moisture will be increasing significantly. Mixing heights will remain low in most areas, but will be increasing as that storm moves in across the Sierra into western Nevada. As we move into Sunday, again, moisture remains in place over the northern two-thirds of the Great Basin, with significant amounts of precipitation as we move from the daytime time period on Saturday through at least Monday and Tuesday. Ventilation indices will remain very low over the northern two-thirds of the area and still remain quite good over parts of southern Nevada and the Arizona Strip. Sunday winds will be increasing as that storm system continues to push eastward, especially over parts of Nevada, where we could see gusts above 40 miles per hour at times over parts of the southern area of the state. And we will see a slight increase in winds further east into Utah, Idaho, and parts of Wyoming. Mixing heights will be increasing across the area, but still remain fairly low, especially in the lower elevations. If we look at the Utah Forecast Clearing Index, again, very low indices for clearing index today and at some points into Saturday, but will be increasing on Sunday as those winds increase across the state. Looking at the overall forecast amount of precipitation, as that atmospheric river moves into the Great Basin, we could see over 10 to 12 inches of liquid precipitation in the Sierra and into parts of the higher elevations of far western Nevada, with over 2 inches of liquid precipitation over the rest of the northern half of the Great Basin. This amount of precipitation on top of the snowfall we've already seen will definitely increase chances for significant flooding over parts of the Sierra and even some flooding into parts of western and northern Nevada. As we move into early next week, this heavy rainfall and snowfall will still continue over the northern half of the Great Basin, with low ventilation indices across much of the area, again with still good dispersion over parts of far southern Nevada into the Arizona Strip. On Tuesday, the moisture remains in place with, again, very low ventilation indices and poor dispersion in the north, and better dispersion as you move further south. By Wednesday, we see the system start to move off to the east, with the bulk of the precipitation over the eastern two-thirds of the Great Basin, and again still poor dispersion. However, we will see some improvements over parts of western Nevada. By Thursday, we finally see this storm system starting to move out, again with most of the precipitation over Utah, Idaho, and far eastern Nevada, with finally a brief period of drier conditions moving into the Sierra and western Nevada. However, yet another storm system will move in towards the end of next week, bringing significant amounts of precipitation yet again. Ventilation indices on Thursday will still remain somewhat low, but will be better than what we will have seen over the next 5 days. If we look at the overall forecast amount of precipitation for the Monday through Wednesday time period, In addition to the exceptional amounts of precipitation we'll see over the next few days, we will continue to see over 2 to 3 inches of additional precipitation Monday and Tuesday in the Sierra, and up to a ½ inch or even over 2 inches of precipitation over parts of northern and eastern sides of the Great Basin. If we look at our 8 to 14 day outlook, which takes us into the mid portion of January, we'll continue to see below normal temperatures in the far north with near to above normal temperatures further south, but we will still continue to see this very wet period with above normal precipitation. That concludes our briefing for today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thank you for listening.